I love PowerPoints. I love PowerPoints. Here we are with another PowerPoint reflecting on February 2025 content and looking forward to March 2025. Can you believe it? A sixth of the year is complete. Probably actually by the time this comes out, because you need the other day because it's only 28 days in February or something, and you got to add that one over because the rest of them have 30 or 31. You know how the math works. But we did this last month, and so we're back here again. We're going to reflect on all the things scripted, unscripted, media consumption. I think there's other streaming. We do that sometimes, I believe. And we're going to do it all. Now, I'm paranoid right now. I am recording, chat. Isn't that fucking crazy? Oh, we get to see it light up again. Let's see how we did compared to last month. In one category, we've soared above the rest. In others, perhaps not. And that one category is our first one, of course, the scripted videos category. Two videos came out in February of 2025, both on the Kyle Entertainment channel. That's our second favorite channel right there after the Great Footy ENT. For the first time since September of 2022, Pokemon's iconic opening shot and the forgotten challenge of bringing Pokemon to TV anime. That's +1 from last month. 14 minutes of scripted and edited footage, up 2 minutes from last month. My work rate still wasn't good. True, we can always improve. It wasn't like, in total, it's 2 videos, but they're 2 short videos. But, let's focus on the positives here for a little bit. So indeed, I went back and I checked, and I was shocked to find out that in September of 2022, I got the Black Sails video and the first House of the Dragon video out in 1 month in September of that year, which was crazy. And then there was another one like earlier that year again, where it was like April or something. Because I had assumed it was the first time since 2020 when I made like 30 scripted videos that year or something crazy. So, but it's nearly been 2 and a bit years. So, that's pretty good, huh? We did promise we would do better videos, more videos this year. Hopefully they'll be better eventually. We'll talk about that in a second. And there we have it, 2 videos. I kind of talk about them later a little bit in this little PowerPoint slide. There definitely could be more, and especially minutes. Now this also comes with an amendum, which is that today, which is technically March the 1st for me, but I usually count the 1st of the month to the previous month because I'm usually operating on American time and assuming most people listening are operating on American time. It's probably not true. But I do that because for my video essay thing, I also do that because all of the big American channels, usually they have to get it out before the Patreon month rolls over. So they all get it out at the very last minute of the month. And I would have to count that for next month. And so it's just easier to operate on that time for consistency, I guess. What's the value of consistency? Shut up, pussy. Now, this is all to say that today I uploaded on the Footy ENT channel a kind of scripted video. In fact, it is entirely scripted, it is entirely audio edited, it is 11 minutes long, but there is no video editing to it because it's a season preview and the NRL season starts tomorrow. And by tomorrow, I mean in like less than 12 hours or something. Probably exactly 12 hours. Yes, about exactly 12 hours from now. I'll be at work, so I got to watch them after work. Can you believe it? I'm so sad. So there kind of technically was like 11 minutes plus 12 minutes plus 14 minutes equals like 25 minutes, which is a lot better. But like there have obviously been months where I've gotten out very long scripted videos, so we can still improve even on that, I think. And we're kind of hoping to next month, but we'll talk about that in a second. Here I say both videos are fine. They are normal, modern Kyle Entertainment quality, and both could have used more polishing, more so the second than the first. This second video I just wanted it to be over and done with, so I just kind of kicked it out the door a little bit. I can't even remember the shortcuts I took. It's been like 3 days since I uploaded that video, so it's gone completely from my mind, at least the creation progress. Oh, I guess I just had the Berserk chanting music for most of the video until I played the Pokemon theme at the end. I like the way the Pokemon theme fit. I did get copyright dinged for it the first time because I let it play into the credits a little bit. And then I just cut off that bit on the end and I got past copyright. But I did kind of fall in love with the Pokemon theme sticking up with the thing at the end, and because the Pokemon theme, it hits you in the feels, and so does the end of the video, my goodness. So maybe I could have been better on the audio, on the music front. Also, I got Bacon, Mia, and Elite RE to record themselves reading the questions part of that video, where it's like 2 minutes in, I basically do a little thing where it's like, look, think about all the things you'd have to think through to bring Pokemon to animation. What do Pokemon like? What do Pokemon eat? Do Pokemon eat each other? How do Pokemon communicate? What do Pokemon battles look like? And I got everybody to record that because I had an idea where everybody... Now, firstly, there's like the basic thing of I say the first question, Alita says the second question, Mia says the third question, Bacon says, and then you repeat it. Just so it's like a bunch of different voices doing it, which kind of fit with the theme of the video. But then I was like, what if we're all speaking at once and it sort of becomes a cavalcade and it's like overwhelming? A cavalcade of noises and questions to represent how overwhelming a task it would be. I didn't try that hard, but it's probably a little out of my pay grade, and also I wanted to get the video out. So I sort of abandoned that idea after harassing Bacon and RE the day of to get me my audio, because Mia had done it like the week before when I asked. Can you believe these two idiots? They're both, I guess I talk about this here, so I should just read this. They are both smaller ideas that were birthed from an original bigger video that should be coming out next, called The Slow Process of Figuring Out Battles in the Pokemon Anime. Title being workshopped. That's not going to be the title. That video and its ideas, I would say, are more interesting. That video I actually want to be a standout main channel video in terms of quality. It'd be nice if it was my best video yet. Moving back into The Last of Us Part 2 content. That's supposed to say in March, which is kind of the plan. I wanted to get all 3 Pokemon videos out in February. That was a little ambitious. So we got to work on that battling one now. Try and get it out. Because in terms of scheduling, before we talk about the video quality, just to jump around a little bit. So I need to get the battles video out. And then I want to also get the 3 core Last of Us Part 2 videos that I've had planned for years out before Season 2 of the show comes out. I think that's a good little deadline. I also probably want to do a video on the show, but that might be better to do like 2 weeks into the show coming out, which would be in April. So obviously they just have to come out before April 13th or whatever the premiere date is. So it'll be next month and a little bit into the other month. If we look further down the line, April in my head is the Chainsaw Man video. Chainsaw Man will probably be nearly over by that point, part 2. So that could coincide nicely. I thought getting out that second Pokemon video the same day as the Direct would be a good little bump. It doesn't seem to have really affected it. We'll get to that in our 4th dot point about how well those videos are performing. So the ideas and the concepts for these 2 videos aren't the strongest. They're not like something I wake up and pine to get my ideas out there for these 2 video ideas. They're both smaller ideas that probably do work better in a bigger video. They were just getting lost in the bigger video, and they were probably going to get cut because I want to sort of streamline things a little bit more. There was a lot of content in that second video. There is a million other little behind-the-scenes early Pokemon stuff that I researched, mostly just by reading the Wikipedia page. That had to get cut. Like, I didn't know that Blue version, the Pokemon game, was like never actually available in stores in Japan until like 1999 after it had released in America. It was just like a sign-up thing for CoroCoro magazine. I think I had known at some point, but I had kind of forgotten that CoroCoro, which is where the Pokemon leaks used to come from, back in like the X and Y and Sun and Moon days a lot of the time. That was so intertwined with Pokemon because it's partially responsible for Pokemon's early success in Japan a lot, because it was a very popular like manga magazine, and Pokemon got a manga in CoroCoro the day after Red and Blue came out as sort of a launching thing. I also found out that like Pokemon was really Nintendo's first anime that they like backed and helped fund themselves, and they were very like trepidatious about it initially, and obviously it paid off very well. Also, there's the anecdote about talking that's in the video, all this stuff that had to be cut. But in the structure of this battles video, all of these points being in one video, I think, in my head makes for a better quality video, because when you sort of compact a video with a bunch of good points, it feels there's pros and cons. It feels like a better video. It feels like you have a lot to say, and it's like proving that you have a lot to say and a bunch of interesting things. And usually when you're watching your favorite videos and it's like a Matthew Matosis video or something like that, it has a bunch of really good points in it. And you're like, Jesus Christ, why does every video I watch suck? And why is this one so much better? Like my big Attack on Titan videos are like this a lot. Even like the Jaeger Master Plan video back in the day had like a bunch of analysis thrown in there, like thematic analysis thrown into the theming stuff as sort of evidence for my theory. And even then, like the Attack on Titan being annoyingly asexual point is in that Jaeger Master Plan video. And that's just like cool. It's like, oh, there's more to this video. And obviously in the Scouts About Understanding and the ending video, etc., those are like that too. I've made other big videos I can't remember. Maybe not. I was going to say the generational conflict in the Sopranos video is kind of like that, but that's probably more streamlined because it's more of just a singular episode analysis. So I've sort of gotten away from that by making these their own separate videos, but I think it might end up helping the Battles video be better eventually, because the Battles video kind of has a core concept. And because I ran into the representative idea, which is obviously not like my idea. I've seen it in a million videos. But it like tied into both of these ideas, but then it didn't really tie into the battle thing later. So it didn't really make sense to seed like a thing that pays off in the introduction, and it kind of feels like a tangent. And also because I'm going through each battle in the beginning of the Pokemon anime, basically, and obviously the first one is that first scene. That's Pokemon's opening iconic shot or whatever. And I was just writing like what that scene was, and I was like, oh, this is like, and I watched it more closely, and I realized how clever it was, and then I sort of wrote that script there. But then it sort of felt out of place because I'm going on about how it's like a cool tribute to the Game Boy, and that's like this flexing of the anime muscle. But that like has nothing to do with the iterating battles point. So I was like, oh, I'll split it off. I think both of these videos do have potentiality to be popular on their own too. So it's also like that. Because if you split big videos into lots of little videos, it's always possible that like you can get triple the views from the people that would be interested in the whole big video. Plus you can also, the individual videos can like blow up. Like when I did the There Are No Badass Women in Black Lagoon video series, like part 1 and part 3 have a lot of views, and part 2 doesn't. Even though it's like the one about the main character, Ravi, which has always been interesting to me. But like, that happened, right? And those two of those videos are like in my top 10 videos ever in terms of viewership, not in terms of being good. But yeah, so the timeline, moving on from that, is sort of, we got to get this Battles video out. I'm predicting this Battles video is probably going to be like 30 minutes long. And then we got there's three Last of Us videos. There's the Wary Tenderness of Joel and Ellie's introductory scenes, which is analysis of their first scenes. Then there's the Jesse and Dina video about how they're immediately likable, which is sort of their first scenes. Both of these videos are probably going to be like half an hour long too. And then there's the more general Moth and the Firefly video that's sort of a whole game analysis, but it's really about Abby and Ellie, but framed through the lens of Joel. It's also probably going to be like at least half an hour long. I'm hoping for the upside for why I think I can probably get the Last of Us videos out quickly is because editing them should be really easy because I just have to put footage. It's not like Pokemon where I'm referencing things and it's like, oh my god, I've got to go and play through like half of Pokemon Red right now to get the footage for this. Which I did do, by the way. That was kind of annoying, but it was kind of fun too. Especially with the original Game Boy speed up where it goes like 1,000%. Like I beat like Brock and Misty in like 30 minutes maybe. Probably less than that, just speeding through and stuff like that. And because I have a line in the video where it's like, Pokemon hide in tall grass, caves, and water. And I was like, oh, I've got to get up to where I can get Surf. I'm going to kill myself just for like 1 second of footage. Which I ended up not doing. I ended up giving up. And I just put like the whole tall grass thing and had the other thing said. Which is something you can do in videos. It flows well, it looks good. It's just when you're editing, you're like, I cannot have 2 seconds of unrelated footage here. It must make sense. It's like, shut up. Nobody's paying attention to that. Just get the fucking video out. And I had to convince myself to do it. But that gameplay footage was me. It's the first time I've ever put my own gameplay footage in a video, I think. Obviously, you just have to Visual Boy Advance OBS screen record, so it's pretty easy to get that footage. But especially for like older games. Like if I ever do make that Crash video, I can just emulate the Crash games on like my computer and then record from there, and then I wouldn't have to like steal the footage or anything like that. Once I get that set up, that could be interesting. Anyway, did I already read that they both underwhelmingly kind of performed? I don't think I did. They both relatively underperformed this month. Neither really have too much play with my audience, but were attempting to tap into a much larger Pokemon fan audience. I haven't entirely given up on that happening yet. It is possible that these videos just get a bunch of views at some certain point when they get picked up by a bunch of stuff. I don't know, or they could just flounder under 1,000 views forever. I think the first one has about 700 views right now. It kind of shot up to 700 views, then died. And the second one has about like 200 views, and it kind of shot up to 200 and then died. Both decently after they were uploaded too, so who knows? We'll see. But yeah, it's not, my audience doesn't really care about Pokemon too much. So I kind of shoot myself in the foot there. My audience probably really doesn't care about The Last of Us Part 2 too much either, so I'm kind of drowning them when I should be doing like general videos on anime or something. I'm going to assume they probably care about Chainsaw Man a little bit, so we'll go back to that. But also, I'm in the position where I don't really know what my particular audience cares about, nor should I really care, I don't think. I think that's like a mindset that's going to kill you. Because the influence, like, the views have to come from outside of your community. Unless you're like a massive guy pre-established already. But anyway, scripted videos were very good. 2 videos out feels relatively good. Doesn't make me feel too much better. You know, I'm still miserable most of the time, so if I'd gotten 7 videos out, now if I start getting lots of views, I think I'll feel better a little bit. Viewership, attention, positive reinforcement, or negative. We love the fucking negative. That's what we need to be happy, maybe. Unscripted videos. 10 unscripted videos came out in January. Oh, that's supposed to say February. On secondary ENT, which is +2 from last month. And I made 1 ordinary RE appearance, which is -2 from last month. Can you believe this lazy piece of shit Elite RE? But obviously they cancel each other out, and we have the same amount, which is 11 of unscripted videos that came out. I don't think any of these are too notable or interesting. Obviously the 1 ordinary RE appearance was the Star Wars one. That's probably the best of these. The best performing video was the anime tier list, where I ranked every anime I had seen. I don't think that was the best video. I feel like most of the time I was just like nostalgia baiting about where I was when I was watching it rather than actually talking about the shows. And obviously it's a tier list, so you get a lot of like annoying comments on them that are really dumb. There was only a few. The video didn't get enough views to get too many. We also did another PowerPoint, but it was for Many Saints of Newark and not Blue-Eyed Samurai or One Piece live action, because I didn't watch either of them this month. We'll get to consuming soon. But that one also kind of did relatively well, and it got a few comments. How I thumbnailed it and titled it would make you maybe think it was a video essay if you clicked on it and didn't know who it was, which is good. Because I've certainly gotten more into the mindset, and this is definitely Ordinary RE inspired, where I think for a long time I feel like I might have talked about this last month. I just treated secondary ENT as like the only people that are watching this channel are like people that I've filtered out of the main channel. So, or like, there's not really any point doing like thumbnails or titles. It's like that are good. And by good, I mean clickbaity. But I've started doing it a lot more, and it just does work better. Like, in our Chainsaw Man chapter reviews, we should almost certainly never put Chainsaw Man chapter whatever title review in it. Like, Sufferance gets like 15k views on all of his Chainsaw Man things, and it's always like, Chainsaw Man cannot go back from this, and then it's just like a photo, an image of Isa. And it's like, well, and then it's just like a chapter review where he says nothing, and it's like, oh, well, that's what you gotta do, because there's like clickbait in it. So I've gotten away from that. Like, I didn't call it every anime I've ever seen tier list. It was like ranking every anime I've ever seen or whatever. And it wasn't Many Saints of Newark review or something. It was like, is the Many Saints of Newark really that bad, or whatever the fuck. In tow, there are the varying and fluctuating. I can say that word in my head. I can't say it out loud, chat. Fluctuating. I don't even think, is that how you spell fluctuating? I think so. I don't give a fuck. Chainsaw Man chapter reviews. One of them got like 60 views, the other two got like 200 views. Who knows? Do we have a core segment of people watching these reviews? I feel like it might be like 10 people. Who cares? These videos aren't too popular. Oh, these videos, as in these PowerPoint ones. These ones die, but there's a few people listening, I'm sure. The video essay one did do all right. I haven't watched many video essays. I think that might be it won't be a tomorrow thing, but the day after I'll probably record that. So I got to start watching. It does kind of kill the beginnings of my months a little bit, the video essay watching. So anyway, but we'll get through all that. Secondary ENT isn't that good. The only really like I had an idea today where I was like, oh, I should do like a digest, but do like a 3-month digest. So at the end of March, I'll like rank and review every, because I don't want to just copy Elite idea, but I don't really have a place where you can get my thoughts on all the things I consume. I put a little bit in these, and I'll talk about like my favorite things very briefly. And then obviously if you listen to the streams, I talk about shit all the time. But that's not curated anywhere. So maybe every 3 months I'll do a big digest thing and we'll go through the media checklist and put them in a little thingy like Elite does or something. Then I won't feel like I'm copying too much. But also, that piece of shit Elite only does digest every 3 months now. What a fucking loser. Now, other than that, I had that idea. And I still have to get my Minecraft Worlds video out. I have like all the recorded footage in a Premiere document. I just need to cut through it and then do a voiceover, which would be fun, I think. But it's like a daunting task. It's like 6 hours of footage or something that I have to cut through, and it's like, oh, do I really want to start this? But once I start it, it'll be out in like a few days. But we'll have to see. Comment down below, say, I want the Minecraft video, and it'll be out soon. Quality is still generally the same, no massive improvements or anything. True, the secondary ENT content is not the greatest. It's not the worst. But, it's just yapping, basically. There were no collab discussions outside of the Elite Star Wars one when we had a bunch planned last month. And this is what I had written on the PowerPoint last month that I copy and pasted over. Uzumaki/Barkano with everybody. Cowboy Bebop/Steins Gate with Bacon. Star Wars, Garden of Sitters, Blade Runner, The Godfather with Elite should be closer to happening this month. These are all still like the next up things, I think. Uzumaki and Barkano are short, and with everybody we can do it. Mia's moving. I think he said beginning of March, maybe he can record again. Bacon's podcast is coming out any day now, I believe. So after he does that, he's more free to do the first and second grouping. And then with Elite we were a little lazy this month. We did do Star Wars. Star Wars has 2 movies left, and then we're done, so that's good. Oh, Elite did give me a good idea where he said I should react to all of the Star Wars TV show trailers, and then I have to choose one and watch it, and make a video make a video where I'm reacting to all the trailers and stuff. Comment below. Let me know which one you want me to watch, and then we can do a little discussion series about that or whatever. Garden of Sinners. We'll do it next month, Blade Runner is still something I'm pretty interested in. It's only 2 movies, etc. So maybe that'll be after these 2 finish. The Godfather at some point, Elite's got to do. There's other things. We'll talk about it more when we get to the consumption panels. Pages? What do you call these? Slides. I feel like I was going to get back to saying something, but I forgot. Oh, and there's also the PowerPointing stuff where I was like, oh, I'm going to do the One Piece. I'm going to watch it and then do a PowerPoint like Cowboy Bebop. I just didn't get around to watching One Piece. I think whatever I have a lot to say about will get the PowerPoint treatment. Like, I watched Many Saints of Newark and Uncharted, like, back-to-back over 2 days. Uncharted didn't get a PowerPoint because I didn't have that much to say. Like, my favorite part of that movie was, like, the Nolan North bit because that was cool. And it was a really cool cameo. And that's, like, something you could talk about because that's kind of interesting. Many Saints of Newark, every scene, I was like, oh, my God, this is something to speak on. Which I assume will be the same for One Piece and maybe Blue-Eyed Samurai, I don't know, but we'll see. I don't know, I'll always announce these things, stay tuned. Plans change, and now I'll update you in the great PowerPoints, what happens. 7 streams happened in February, mine is one from last month, all on Twitch, whereas we did one on YouTube last month, which was the Cowboy Bebop PowerPoint. I don't know. Minus one stream doesn't really matter to me. We could stream more, but I'm focusing more on the other things. I say this every time. Stream has not really changed or gotten more successful. Still therapy and farming secondary ENT clips. Reacting to the Pokemon Direct was interesting. We did do that. Not many people showed up for it, and not many people have watched the YouTube video since. The Pokemon Direct did kind of suck. It was kind of boring, so who cares? It's not like that Switch video. I am back stealing Elite RE's content. Yes, we did the tier list, etc. I haven't really been on Elite RE's stream. Not that he streams too much either. Recently either. So we're lacking on this. Mostly talking about consuming habits. True, I'm mostly just talking about the things that I'm consuming and giving little updates on what I think and how far I've gotten, etc., etc. So if you are interested in that, there's obviously the VODs where you can come in live and ask questions or whatever. I'm not really reacting to videos anymore, and this isn't like an announcement, it's just like an observation. I could get back to reacting to videos. Some videos are good for reactions. If there's ever like a hot topic video or something, a reaction to it would probably be pretty good on to just upload to secondary NT. Like when RE did that great Mauler reaction. God, that was epic. Reacting to videos with Elite on his stream is pretty fun, though. But, I don't know. Elite only streams once a week. Well, basically once a month, pussy. So we'll have to see. So, streams, there's no hard plans. I'm not motivated to start fixing streams next month, so we'll probably be back here with 7 or 8 streams again, talking about the same stuff. Until we get famous and streams start popping off and we do another Nuzlocke or something. Media consumption. 10 things consumed and listed in the month of February of 2025. Can you believe it? I did think it was more, and when I went back to count, I was slightly disappointed. Obviously, we're up to 33, I believe, because I think we did 23 in a single month last month. It is, and I guess we should have mentioned this at the beginning, February's got like 3 less days, bro, so, kind of cucked me over there. Could have done 1 million more. I would have been pretty cool if it was 31 days. 30 days has September, April, June, and November. The rest. So March is 31 days. Is that what you're telling me? Weird thingy I have in my head? Weird, what do you call that? Not a narrative, nursery rhyme I've got in my head. So that's crazy. So we'll have 100 things consumed next month, I'm sure. I thought it was more, and I've listed them out here because it's not 23 things, and I can list them out. It was Crash Nitro Kart, The Force Awakens. Can I remember the full title of the Jesse James movie? The Assassination of Jesse James by the Coward Robert Ford. I remembered it. Chungking Express, Donald Duck, Disney's Donald Duck Going Quackers, since we're doing the full names here, except I already said Force Awakens. Rogue One, Many Saints of Newark, Uncharted, Star Wars The Last Jedi, and Crash Twin Sanity. This is kind of misleading and disappointing because there are, as the second dot point says, lots of ongoing long-term consumption going on. We are still, I might not have read any Heart of Darkness this month. I think I might have read a page or two. I did read like a chapter of Blood Meridian this month in like 2 sittings. We have started and are a decent chunk of the way. That's not really true. I have 30 stars. No, it's just under 30 stars, I think, in Mario 64, which is something we did start. I'm like 3 or 4 hours into Chrono Trigger. I did watch, I think, a bit over half of season 1 of The Simpsons. It's only like 12 episodes. I did watch the first 9 minutes of episode 1 of Record of the Lotus War. I think it's just of Lotus War. I don't remember. Though I intended to watch the full thing, I just got tired and said I would watch it tomorrow. And this is pretty early in the month and haven't gotten back to it, but it's still open on my computer and I nearly did it yesterday, so it's still in the brain. I went back and I read 1 more chapter of Zombie 100 in the last like 5 days. Getting back on that. I don't think I played any Pokemon Heart and Gold, but it's still there too. So there's like a bunch of things that like have taken up quite a bit of time, like Mario 64, like Chrono Trigger, even like The Simpsons, where like it hasn't paid off in an entry. And sort of, I have been playing a lot of video games, because at one point I was playing Twin Sanity, Mario 64, and Chrono Trigger all at once, and so that was like most of my spare time, rather than like watching a movie or something. Though it's down to just the 2 now, though I probably am going to start Crash Tag Team Racing very soon. We'll see. I don't know. Because these 2 are both like, it's conceivable that Mario 64 and Chrono Trigger don't get finished in March. Probably not, though. I think they might, but there's a possibility they won't. Like, if we go through these, like, Heart of Darkness is a possibility, but probably not. I'm probably not going to read that much. Blood Meridian is too long to be done next month. The Simpsons Season 1 could probably be done this month. Record of Lotus War, I hope, will be done this month. Zombie 100 probably won't be. And Heart Gold, I have no idea. So, we'll see. We also had some drops in February. Yu-Gi-Oh! Dungeon Dice Monsters, the GBA game, and Rayman. Croc also fell down the list too. I was going to play Croc right after Rayman, but when I dropped Rayman, I was like, oh, Croc, I'll get back to you later, son. Though it's still on the list. I didn't delete it from the list, my little Excel spreadsheet. Yu-Gi-Oh! Dungeon Dice Monsters is, like, not a good game. It's, like, weird. Like, I think you just spam, like, lower level monsters to win. I started watching, like, YouTube videos to see if... Because I played it, and then you can't save after each duel. You have to save after 3 duels, and the first duel took me, like, 40 minutes. Then I started the second one, got, like, 15 minutes in. I was like, this has got, like, at least 15 minutes left, and then I got to do another one. I was like, I'm not spending an hour and a half playing this game right now. So I turned it off, and I said, I didn't even enjoy that. Video games are supposed to be about enjoyment. Let's cross it off the list. Let's get rid of it. This game also just came out in the recent Yu-Gi-Oh! Re-release of all the old games. There's, like, a big Switch game that's been released with, like, 14 old Yu-Gi-Oh! Games on there, which are a lot of the handheld ones. So that's interesting. You can play that game recently. I'm sure some people have. I have it on the GBA because I'm cool. So yeah, I was like, fuck it. I don't need to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Dungeon Dice Monsters right now. I can move on to something else. I was really like, I just wanted to play it to see what it looked like because I remember playing it as a kid and I was like satisfied. And then I watched like a long play on YouTube and it's literally just duels the whole time and it doesn't seem too much cooler the more you progress. So I was like, we'll drop that one. Rayman is a different case. Rayman is I'll get back to you later. This is like, first of all, it is very slow. Like, in terms of platforming, like, Rayman... Now, I think he does get the ability to run relatively soon. I don't know why I dropped it, now that I'm thinking about it. Because it isn't that hard. A lot of people complain about it being really hard. Now, again, I only got through the first world and saw, I think, 1 pencil level. But I was just like, oh, I would rather do other things right now, I think. And I was like, oh, let's move on from Rayman and go back. I think I was really like, oh, let's play Twinsanity. That's going to be a lot of fun. And I was like, do I really want to play Rayman, then Croc, then Twinsanity? This is after I'd finished Donald Duck Going Quackers, I think. And I was like, fuck it. We'll drop Rayman. Rayman will happen eventually at some point in my life. It'll probably be many years from now, but I'm like, Rayman, we haven't given up on you too much yet. We'll get back to you. But yeah, so those two were kind of started and dropped. But yeah, other than that, we have the list of my favorites down here. Is there anything else to talk about in this regard? I don't think so. My favorite stuff that I consumed this month were Chunking Express, which is great. I talked about it on a stream one time, but Chunking Express has a 4.5 star on Letterboxd right now. I'm like one reaction watching away or one like rewatch, I think, away from giving it 5 stars. I really like Chunking Express. I think it's really good. Donald Duck Going Quackers was a frustrating game at times. But it was fun. I like that it's a Crash clone. I like that it's interesting. I like that it's Donald Duck. I like the levels. I like running through it. I feel like it's entered the games that feel fun to play, I think, in my mind, where I'm like, I would like to go into one of the corridor levels and just run around and double jump as Donald Duck on the PS. Now this is Donald Duck Going Quackers on the PS1. Because there's like 15 different versions of that game, and some of them are very different. But just double jumping and kicking or whatever, and that like feels good. Just like it like feels good to like triple jump in Mario 64, long jump really. That's the best one. Or like roll and then jump in Jak and Daxter, or slide and jump in Crash, not in fucking Crash to Insanity, in real Crash games. So I can see myself at some point in my life replaying Donald Duck Going Quackers and having a fun time. Even though I probably gave it like 3.5 stars on Backlogged. Maybe we should bump it up to 4 stars with my positive memories here. It also had time travel modes, which I really like because it just kind of gets you in this like Zen mode that's like crazy. It's like, take me back. When I play this fucking shitty Insane trilogy, I'll be doing that in those Crash games and getting some of those fucking time trials, getting those platinum trophies. Maybe not the platinum relics. And then Star Wars The Force Awakens, I really liked. I thought it was just such a fun old time. We loved the great Rey. But you can hear all about that in the video. Do we have least favorites? I don't know. The Last Jedi was pretty bad. Jesse James is also really good. I don't think I fully appreciated that movie the first time through. I think that's definitely a rewatch and it might blow your mind type. And also I lacked a lot of the context going into that movie about the Jesse James story, etc. Twinsanity frustrated me at parts. But yeah, I don't know. There's not really too many least favorites. Twinsanity, what a weird game, you know? I don't think I've streamed to talk about Twinsanity since I finished it, but it's like the greatest unfinished piece of dog shit you've ever seen in your life. 3.5 stars or something. I'll talk about it more at a later date, I think. Into Crash Tag Team Racing. Now here I've copy and pasted the slide for the February media consumption plan, and we can check in on how we did. So yeah, this is all the things that I was like in my head. Oh, we'll do that next month. So we had the previously mentioned in that PowerPoint discussion series: Star Wars, Garden of Sinners, Blade Runner, Cowboy Bebop, etc. We kind of didn't even finish Star Wars. We added 2 movies to it and watched 3 out of the 5 we have left. We didn't do any Garden of Sinners. We didn't get to Blade Runner. We didn't start Cowboy Bebop. We're still Crash gaming. Crash Nitro Kart was completed. Crash Twinsanity was completed. So that's progression. 2 Crash games down. The Crash Twinsanity took a long time. That's a hard-ass video game. Nitro Kart is piss easy, though, you know. Emperor Velo's my little pussy bitch. I beat his ass. Crash Tag Team Racing, I predicted maybe getting to last month. That's a this month thing now. Pokemon Heart Gold was not finished. And maybe Yu-Gi-Oh! Dungeon Dice Monsters 2. Well, we played that a little bit and dropped it. Get it the fuck out of here. Probably looking back, haha, me being funny, manga reread and movie first watch. That didn't happen. Record of Lotus War is almost a certainty. Well, I watched like 9 minutes of it. Alright, we're going to get back to it soon. So is Angel's Egg and Ghost in the Shell 2. I did sour on that a little bit. I haven't been as motivated to do that. But we'll see if it's on the next slide for my plan for March. I should probably finish watching the Heavenly Delusion anime too. Didn't do that either. Netflix One Piece, Blue-Eyed Samurai the Romanoffs, and none of those happened. Heart of Darkness and Blood Meridian, I got to finish Fire and Blood at some point. We made progress on 2 of those things. Niggling in the back of my mind are DuckTales, which we didn't start. The Simpsons, which we did start, which was an interesting one to choose. And Yu-Gi-Oh!, which we didn't start. We had a bunch of movies in there that I wasn't in my mind last month. Going Quackers might have already started maybe last month, and that's why it wasn't there. And Many Saints and Uncharted wasn't really on the radar, but I just did get the feel that I wanted to watch those 2 at some point in the middle of the month, so that happened. That's pretty epic. Now we have the March plan. My goodness, how exciting. Continuing our triumphing in Crash. Crash Tag Team Racing, Crash of the Titans it should be, Crash Mind over Mutant. I don't think I could get further than these 3 games. I think Crash Tag Team Racing is relatively short. Crash of the Titans I can beat blindfolded. I honestly replayed it not that long ago, probably in like the last 4 years. So I don't really feel the need to play it again, but I'm literally doing them all in order, so I should just do it. And it'll give me a fresher thing for when I go into Crash Mind over Mutant. Which I've never actually beaten. I've never actually beaten Twinsanity. I've never actually beaten Crash Tag Team Racing. I've never actually beaten Crash Mind over Mutant. Now, after that, obviously, there's the Insane Trilogy, the remastered Kart Racer, and then the new game. And then we're adding Astrobot to the Crash chronology here. Now, I have to buy those last 3 games, so maybe I'll get rich by the end of March and I can buy them easily. I have the Insane Trilogy, though. Honestly, Crash Tag Team Racing, Crash of the Titans will probably be finished this month. I don't know about Crash Mind over Mutant. We'll see. I have no idea how long that game is. Finishing up the Star Wars movie, Solo and Rise of Skywalker. This has to happen. Finishing up Garden of Sinners, we can only hope. Maybe other series like Blade Runner, Barkano, Cowboy Bebop. These are probably the first ones in each of the categories. Like Blade Runner is the next one up for Elite RE. Barkano is the next one up for our group. And Cowboy Bebop is the first one up for the Bacon solo watch-throughs. Maybe we've got to get Mia on a solo watch-through. We'll have to see. Chrono Trigger and Mario 64 wrap-ups. Hopefully I can beat those this month. Why don't we just start Ocarina of Time? What are we doing here? True. I've had the urge. I'm like, man, Ocarina of Time. Let's like slide around and hit people with swords and stuff, you know. Mario 64 is giving me appreciation. Also, it's kind of, I sat back like today or yesterday and I was like, I'm playing Chrono Trigger and like Mario 64 right now. Like two of the supposed greatest video games of all time. And I'm enjoying both of them. You know, that wasn't a supposed as in I'm making fun of it. It's a supposed as in like, I'm pretty cool right now, brother. You know, when you're replaying Crash, it's just like, oh, this is the thing because I like Crash. Most people don't consider any of these Crash games in the greatest games of all time category. But it's like, this is like a notch on my gamer belt here. Chrono Trigger and Mario 64. It's like I get to be cool and be in the conversation now. I'm a real gamer now. And it's only going to continue to be a thing because 2025 has very much been the year of video games. I've been playing so many video games. When I hadn't played, I don't know if I've finished a video game that wasn't like a Pokemon game or a Yu-Gi-Oh fucking Libra mod thing in like 2 or 3 years. So that's funny. Since like the last new game I played and beat was The Last of Us Part 2 in 2020. Like since then, I haven't played a game that's come out. That's the only 2020s game I've ever played. Probably not. Maybe some of those PC games I played definitely came out in the 2020s, like Rogue Tower or that Norman game or whatever I was playing. Anyway, we're doing the old ones here. We're going to get to the new games eventually. I think once I get, because I'm going to have to play Crash, obviously the Insane Trilogy at some point on new hardware. Once I get back into the new hardware mindset, I think we'll be back into that full force, and maybe we can go into the Sony first-party stuff that I have to catch up on, like Spider-Man and God of War and shit like that. You know, I looked on my shelf the other day, and I was shocked that I owned Ratchet and Clank. And I was like, oh, that's like one I can play soon, too. I've also thought I'll probably buy the Spyro games at some point so I can play them. Maybe we'll do Insomniac fully through or some shit. I literally have an Xbox One, so I could do fucking Sunset Overdrive too. I don't know. We'll see about that. You'd have to buy that weird PS1 shooter they did before Spyro. We'll see. But anyway, video games, they inspire me. I gotta play through them, you know. Ooh. Where's the next one? Zombie 100. I'm back on the Zombie 100 bandwagon. I want to get through it. I'm back on manga has crept back in. Like, manga for the first 2 months has been like, I don't really care to be reading manga at the moment. It was more movies and video games. Manga's starting to creep back in. I read a Zombie 100 chapter because I was just like, fuck it. It's going to get dropped if I don't do it soon. So I got to do it, and it was great. We loved Zombie 100. It's a great manga. And then I watched like a YouTube video on Blame, and I was like, man. And that's got written here, a little bit of Blame recently, and I was like, that's pretty cool. And then I'm like, I'm playing Chrono Trigger. Why don't I just start fucking Vagabond and read all the good mangas that you're supposed to read so I can get up with the conversation and be cool and stuff? 2025, not just the year of many things consumed, but of quality things consumed. Because I really haven't had a thing that's like smashed onto the scene and been like, this is now one of my favorite things ever. Like Boardwalk Empire was probably the last thing I watched that I was like, this is one of the greatest things I've ever seen in my life. It is of the utmost quality. I don't know, I guess like Fujimoto stuff has been more recent and stuff like that. And honestly, this year, I don't think I've consumed too much like that. Like I rewatched Monsters, Inc. and I was like, Monsters, Inc. is one of the best movies. You know, we love the great Monsters, Inc. There were other things that I really liked, right? But it's been a long time since I've sat back and I've gone, this is the greatest piece of media ever. This is in Mad Men and Berserk and The Last of Us Part 2's little SSS plus group tier at the top here. I guess House of the Dragon had it for a little while, but then it fell off a little bit. And most of the things I'm consuming, I don't think will get to that level. Like, I've already decided that Mario 64 is a 4.5 star game, and I've already decided that I'm bumping Jak and Daxter down to a 4.5 star game. Chrono Trigger, people talk about it like it's the greatest game of all time. I like the characters, I like the story, I like the way it's being told. I have been spoiled on one of the bigger twists, and I have been since I was like a little kid, where I know that like at some point you meet like a little kid that is actually the bad guy in like the future if you do the time travel thing or whatever. And I know that's like the big turning point, and that's like the best moment in Chrono Trigger or whatever. But just like the way it's told and stuff, I'm like, this is probably 4 to 4.5 stars, but I don't see it hitting 5 stars. I don't see anything Star Wars related hitting 5 stars. And even then, there's 5 stars, and then there's greatest of all time. Like Monsters Inc. is 5 stars. It's not like one of my favorite things ever. And there's things like that. Like, there's a lot of like, oh, I appreciate this thing. I think it's really cool. Like, I bet when I watch Ghost in the Shell 2 and Angel's Egg, that's probably going to be my takeaway. But yeah, even like, I'm not expecting Ocarina of Time to be like the greatest thing ever to me either. And none of the Crash games really are. Crash of the Titans is like one of my favorite things ever, but that's like a separate story almost. So, you know, but slowly I want to iterate into those things. Like, I don't know, Blame could, and that was sort of the coolness. Like, Blame I don't really know much about. Like, I got a feel for Chrono Trigger immediately, and I'm like, oh, this is like Dragon Ball, but the best it could be. And it has that sort of tone, and it obviously has that style because of the art, the Akira Toriyama art. And like Mario 64, I'm like, this is really cool. A lot of the art stuff is like weirdly dated in an interesting way, but in a way that does affect enjoyment. And I think like the movement is very good. It's not perfect, and it like hurts it a little bit. And there are definitely parts where it's very frustrating. There are parts where it's a little boring. So that probably like docks it off the 5-star thing. I don't know. I don't know. I just want to like Blame is like the unknown for me. Like Record of Lotus War could be that, but like I sort of saw the first half of the first episode. I'm like, this is going to be a show, like a vehicle for the girl that's really cool and is obviously really cool. And like I could see her being one. Oh my god. Fucking moron. I've been talking about this 5-star nonsense for too long, and I forgot about the Great Die Buster that is in that category. It is one of my favorite things ever. I guess another thing is like Pokemon, the anime, but even then, that's like a 4.5-star thing, I think. Die Buster is 5 stars, and it's in the lower end of that top tier category for me. I really like everything about it, and it's not like it's just a Momo, that's her name, vehicle, because Taiko's there, and like I love the plot stuff and the imagery stuff and all that stuff. Epic. Anyway, that was a massive tangent. Consuming, I don't know, we're in the consuming part, who cares? Dandadan is what I want to read next, but even Dandadan is probably slightly worse Chainsaw Man. Is like, from the little bit I've read, it's like, it's got really good ideas, it's got really good art. It's probably going to be limited by trying to be a more poppy sort of shonen show. It does have the romance element. I could see Dandadan hitting the 5 stars. I don't really see it hitting the best of all time, or my favorite things of all time. I don't even know if Chainsaw Man is in that category. Fire Punch probably is, but it's probably more at the back with the Die Buster. Anyway. And then Blame maybe after that. We'll see where the manga habits go. Zombie 100 is a monthly manga, which means its chapters are relatively long. There's also, I've still got like 60 or something to go before I'm caught up. So it's going to be a long time. So I don't know if I'll start, because obviously Dandadan is a weekly shonen series and is a lot shorter. I don't know if I'll start that at the same time or something. I just want to kind of get consistently into Zombie 100 before I'm throwing Dandadan in there and cucking it. There's also Heavenly Delusion chapters I'm behind on. I got to do that at some point. But yes, Record of Lotus War needs to happen. I'm going to make it happen. I'm interested. That looks incredible, that show. Ghost in the Shell 2 / Angel's Egg, look back are two things that I want to do. These are like, because the way my work schedule works is 2 weeks out of the month, I'll have like long weekends off. And usually then I'll be like, oh, it's time for 2 movies over 2 of these 3 days. And I'm going to assume it'll be these 2. But then I also have this. I've also picked out When Harry Met Sally, and She's Funny That Way as nice rom-coms I want to watch. When Harry Met Sally is like one of the most famous rom-coms of all time. It's very highly rated. She's Funny That Way is by the therapist of Dr. Melfi in The Sopranos. That guy's like a big director dude. He has that one famous interview with David Chase. Peter something. He's got a big long Jewish last name. And so I'm curious what his movies are like. This is a more modern one. It seems more rom-commy, so I wrote it down and I was like, all right, these two. So that's another like pairing. So I don't know if it's gonna cuck one of the other twos, or if I can do all three this month or whatever. But we'll see. These like, I'm kind of not trying to do these. I just kind of want to get them out of the way. But we'll see. Heart of Darkness and Blood Meridian I probably need some attention too. I should probably really try and finish Heart of Darkness or something. Though Blood Meridian, we're gonna get to the violent stuff, which everybody stresses. It's like, how you can't even read it. It's so graphic. So I kind of want to get to that, and curiosity is pushing me to do that one first. So, in terms of quality, I enjoy reading both of those books a lot. It's just like, oh, I gotta go get the book and sit down and then start reading and try and keep my mind on track. It's like a whole thing. Checking in with our goals. Let's end this goddamn PowerPoint. I feel like we've been gone for an hour. It's crazy. 50,000 subscribers, our big goal. 2 videos came out to this end this month. Didn't really make too big of a dent, though. We aren't even up to 10K yet, goddammit. We need some blow up. The consistency does help, though, so we'll see. Improved output / more videos, Lamau. Surely at least 12 videos right this year. Well, we did 3 in 2 months in, and we've got 3 videos out. No biggie. So, we're already a quarter of the way there, and we're not even a quarter way through the year, and I'm trying to have a big month next month, so I'm kind of happy with the progress on this one. Better ideas, we're getting to it. The next video should have good ideas, and then we'll get to the last of those videos, which are the best ideas. And then Chainsaw Man after that. So we love better ideas. I need my audience to think I'm a genius. Making all the outstanding legacy videos, The Last of Us Part 2 videos, the Mad Men video, the Appeal of Chainsaw Man, Pokemon anime videos. Last of Us next, there may be Chainsaw Man. We talked about that already, so we're kind of getting to these. We've done some Pokemon anime videos now too, can you believe it? So we've kind of made progress on that front. More focus directed to footy NT, especially ramping into the 2025 NRL season. I didn't exactly get as many preseason videos out as I wanted to. True, I wanted to do a bunch of preseason videos, but my God, the season's here in less than 12 hours. And, I did get that preview out, but there's no visuals and nobody's going to watch it, but I didn't want to throw it out, so it's up. But we'll get back to footy NT and making bigger videos. Now you're kind of in the situation where you're at the whims of, like, what's popular at the moment. Like, if I want to make a video about how Jerome Luai is going to turn the Tigers around, if the Tigers have just lost that week, or if they lose their first 3 games, kind of can't make that video anymore. So it's kind of fun. It'll be an interesting challenge. I'm going to hope to keep those videos, like, short. But we'll see. No more short main channel videos, though. This Pokemon video needs... the rest of them are going to be half an hour for the rest of the year. We hate short videos here, especially for media analysis. And that's the end of our great PowerPoint. So can you believe it? That was February. Relatively successful, I would say. I'm not too depressed. It hasn't exactly made me the happiest boy in the world. We'll see what happens in March. It also helps you reflect a little bit on what's happened, huh? It's reflecting. All right, that's it. Everybody get the fuck out of here. Support links in the description below. Thanks.